Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss Assertive Nationalist. We are discussing here second phase of Indian national movement from 1905 to 1916. The second phase is represented by this famous slogan, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. But before starting this discussion, let us understand what we are going to discuss in this module. We are going to discuss who were assertive nationalists. We will also discuss causes of the rise of assertive nationalists in India, as well as we will understand methods and objectives of assertive nationalists in India. We will discuss contributions of important leaders like Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chander Pal. At last we will find what is the point of difference in early nationalist and assertive nationalist. So let's start our discussion by understanding who were assertive nationalists. The assertive nationalists were leaders who emerged by 1905 when early nationalists had reached the limit of their political growth. They were so called because they were more assertive in their demands, and as they had no faith in the British sense of fair play and justice, and want complete independence or Swaraj from the British Empire. Whereas the early nationalists, they do not want a complete independence from the British Empire. So that is why there was a rise of second set of leaders. Those were called assertive nationalists. Now let us understand what are the main causes of rise of assertive nationalists. The first cause is recognition of true nature of British. The work of early nationalists had exposed the economic exploitation of Indians by the British. Political developments such as the passing of Vernacular Press Act and reduction in the number of Indian members in the Calcutta Corporation convinced the Indians that the British would never work in the interest of Indians. The second cause is failure of early nationalists. The young members of Indian National Congress were not happy with the progress made by early nationalists. They criticized the methods of peaceful agitations. The assertive nationalists believed that the early nationalists were loyal to the crown or British. The failure of the early nationalists in receiving concrete reform for the country led to the increasing demand for taking a radical approach for Indian nationalists. The third most important cause is repressive policies of Lord Curzon. Lord Curzon was known for his repressive policies. He passed the Act of 1898, which made the offence to provoke people against the English. The Calcutta Corporation Act, which reduced the strength of Indian elected members, and the Indian Universities Act of 1904, which imposed strict official control over Indian universities. All these measures created resentment in the Indians, and they began to believe that equality would be granted to them only if British would leave India. The next cause is national school of thought. Assertive nationalists like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Aurobindo Ghosh, Bipin Chander Pal and Lala Lajpat Rai wanted nothing less than complete independence and were ready to follow any means to achieve the same. The next cause is partition of Bengal. The partition of Bengal provided a congenial environment for the growth of assertive nationalism. Lord Curzon partitioned Bengal into East Bengal and West Bengal. Although the government said the province of Bengal was partitioned for administrative convenience, it was clearly visible that it wanted to create a rift between Hindus and Muslims, and East was a Muslim majority region and West Bengal was a Hindu majority region. The protest of people were suppressed brutally by the government, which gave rise to the assertive nationalism in India. Now let us understand methods of assertive nationalist. The main methods of assertive nationalists are Swdeshi, boycott, national education, passive resistance, and revivalization. Let us start with first method, that is Swdeshi. Swdeshi means the use of goods which are produced by indigenous industries. Swdeshi aim at making the country self-reliant and self-sufficient. The assertive nationalist used Swdeshi as a tool not only to promote Indian industries but also to hit the British economic interest. The second method is boycott. The assertive nationalists stress on the boycott of foreign goods in the efforts to boost local Indian industries. It also aimed at providing employment opportunities to the people. It also proved an effective weapon for hampering British interest in India. Boycott of English cloth, salt, sugar, etc. become a common method for assertive nationalists. Rejection of speaking English was also one of important set under boycott. Rejection of government posts and seats, social boycott of people who purchase foreign goods were also important steps taken by assertive nationalists. The next method is national education. A national scheme of education was planned as an alternative of the government-controlled universities. The assertive nationalists urged students to enroll in national schools. Many national schools were established in East Bengal. Assertive nationalists also aimed at providing education to people through vernacular or local languages. A large number of national colleges were started to include students in national movement. These colleges included DAV colleges, Bengal national colleges, etc. The next method is passive resistance. The assertive leaders followed the policy of non-violence, resistance, and strong political action to achieve independence of the country. They thus urged the people not to cooperate with government and to boycott government-controlled educational institutions, courts, services, and all other means which are important to the government. The next method is revivalization. Assertive nationalists revived self-respect by referring to India's past glory. The leaders planned the national movement on people's religious belief. Tilak revived Shivaji festival in 1895. Chandragupta Vikramaditya, Rana Pratap and Shivaji were presented as national heroes to inspire the masses to fight for their country. Now let us discuss a trio of three important assertive nationalist leaders, that is called Lal-Bal-Pal. Now we are going to discuss contribution of Lal-Bal-Pal. First of all, we are going to start with Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai was also known as Sher-e Punjab or Punjab Kesari. He was born in Dhuddike, village now in Moga district of Punjab. He was influenced by Swami Dayanand Saraswati and joined Arya Samaj movement. He was part of many nationalist movements. He was passed away due to lathi charge during protest against Simon Commission. Along with Bal Gangadhar Tilak, the Bipin Chander Pal, he formed the trio of extremist leaders of Lal-Bal-Pal. The major contributions of Lala Lajpat Rai are: Number 1. For the political activity, he was deported to Burma in 1907, but due to lack of evidence, he was released after a month. Second one, he co-founded the Punjab National Bank in 1894. Third one, he joined Ghadar Party in 1914. Fourth one, he founded Home Rule League of America in 1917. Next one, he was elected as the president of India's first trade union, AITUC, in 1920. He was elected as President of Congress in Calcutta session in 1920. He founded Servants of People Society in 1920. He started a monthly magazine, Young India, to inspire people to join national movement for attaining Swaraj. He also founded Punjabi, Vande Mataram, an Urdu daily newspaper, as well as he also founded the English weekly newspaper called People. He was also associated with Arya Samaj movement, thus he played important role in development of DAV colleges at Lahore in 1886. He opened many orphanages, schools and hospitals. He led the agitation against Simon Commission at Lahore in 1928, where he received grave injuries during lathi charge and passed away after a month. Now let us discuss Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Bal Gangadhar Tilak is known as father of assertive nationalism. He was one of the strongest advocates of Swaraj or self-rule. His famous slogan was, "Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it." He was popularly acknowledged as Lokmanya Tilak. His entire life was a Karm Yajna, as he devoted his entire life for national awakening. He was one of the important members of Lal-Bal-Pal with other nationalist leaders like Lala Lajpat Rai and Bipin Chander Pal. The important contributions of Bal Gangadhar Tilak are: he founded Deccan Education Society in 1884 at Pune. He founded two journals in 1881 called Maratha, a English weekly, and Kesari, a Marathi weekly. He was arrested in 1908 under the charges of sedition and sentenced for 6 years at Mandalay jail in Burma, where he wrote Gita Rahasya. In his book Gita Rahasya, he gave the theory of Arctic home of Aryans. He became an associate with Home Rule of Annie Besant and founded it at Pune in 1916. The Shivaji and Ganpati festivals were popularized by him in 1894. He used the Ganesh Chaturthi and Shivaji Jayanti festivals to create unity and national spirit among the people. In 1907, Tilak wrote two articles in the Kesari, namely The Country's Misfortune and The Remedies Are Not Lasting, wherein demanded that the government should try to understand the changing circumstances in the country and grant Swaraj to the India. In 1918, Tilak visited England as a president of Indian Home Rule League and intensified the Home Rule movement, thereby addressing public meetings and contacting eminent leaders of the British Labour Party. The next important leader is Bipin Chander Pal. Bipin Chander Pal, also known as father of revolutionary thoughts in India, while working as social reformer and freedom fighter, Bipin Chander Pal also worked as journalist to spread nationalist news. In politics, Bipin Chander Pal was initially influenced and accepted by Surendranath Banerjee as his guru, but later he worked in collaboration with Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai and Aurobindo Ghosh. He was a social reformer. After visiting various countries, he became aware of the people's struggle against foreign rule in different parts of the world. He joined Indian National Congress in 1886. The main contributions of Bipin Chander Pal are: he was sent to jail for 6 months for refusing to give testimony against Aurobindo Ghosh in Vande Mataram sedition case. He started popularizing the idea of Swaraj to the Indians. He edited journals The Democrat and The Independent. He also started many newspapers and magazines such as Paridarshak, Vande Mataram, New India and Swaraj, etc. Some of the books he authored are Indian Nationalism, Swaraj and the Present Situation, Nationality and Empire, The Basic of Social Reform, The New Spirit and studies in Hinduism and the soul of India. In 1898, he went to England to study comparative theology. He returned to India in 1 year and plugged into freedom struggle. He agitated against the partition of Bengal in 1905 through his weekly journal, The New India in 1901. He proclaimed the secularism, rationalism and nationalism. After the First World War, he again visited England as a member of Congress deputation led by Tilak for placing India's political demand before the Joint Parliamentary Committee of Britain. Now let us understand the basic difference between early nationalist and assertive nationalist. Let's start with early nationalist. They were also known as moderates. They adopted methods such as prayer and petition. They wanted to achieve self-government and did not want full autonomous rule of Indians. They had faith in British sense of justice and fair play. They also favor the idea of Western philosophy and inspired by Western philosophers. Some of the moderates were Dadabhai Nehruji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Gopal Krishan Gokhale, Surendranath Banerjee, etc. The assertive nationalist. They were also known as extremists. Their methods were boycott and Swadeshi. They believed in radical policy and wanted an immediate attainment of Swaraj and complete independence from the British. They had no faith in British sense of justice. They had a large support of masses and drew the inspiration from India's past. Some of the important assertive nationalist leaders were Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chander Pal, Lala Lajpat Rai, etc. That's all in this discussion. In our next discussion, we will meet on formation of Congress and its immediate objectives.